disruptors seem to be everywhere. Regarding traditional companies in the current day, what are they to do?
That's the challenge, because on the one hand, nothing much happens on a normal day because the disruption is very slow in sort of having its impact. And so you tend to sort of say, I look at that tomorrow, and then tomorrow becomes tomorrow, and so on and so on. And that's the danger with disruption, is that their effects are very slow in being seen. And so I guess on a day-to-day, what you want to do is really understand what's going on and try to see where it will lead you, because disruption is a process. So it's not just doing one thing one day, it's having a continuous look at the evolution of your industry. And sometimes this evolution is really difficult to grasp.
And you did mention the speed of disruption is slow, and you mentioned the Kodak case, 20 years from 1975 to 1995. What were the signs that maybe they should have picked up on sooner? It seemed that they had a relevant understanding of them, but it's just what is the takeaway of to determine what steps to take when?
I think the key takeaway is that indeed they were absolutely aware of what was going on. They invented digital cameras, they knew about the digital disruption, so it was not a problem of knowledge, it was not a problem of awareness by the top management. They knew that it was going to happen eventually. What they didn't know exactly was the timing, number one, although they had sort of an idea, but also the difficulty for them was that betting everything on digital would have meant sacrificing their existing business, and that they could not do. So what they did was they delayed the big decision. They said, okay, we're going to do the big push next year. And then the following year, they would say, well, it's not there yet, so we will again delay the big push one more year. And so you delay and delay and delay, and then suddenly the disruption comes full impact, and then it's too late.
And so the theme of the forum is an economic model under attack, yet there seems to be a difference of opinion, and maybe you're in the camp that it's always not always under attack, it's just creative disruption, and that's perfectly natural. How does the future look in terms of whether it's a historic look or a future look for companies today? What is it? Should it be a view of they're under attack, or is it we need to embrace the creative disruption?
It might be both. Under attack if you are an incumbent and you see this disruption which will undermine your existing business, then you can use the word attack. Okay, but from a more general perspective, I think we should not use the word attack, because I see the system, and I'm not the first one to say that, as evolving continuously. The term creative disruption was mentioned, and so we live in a system that continuously reinvents itself. And if we stop this reinvention, then we will have a negative without having the positive. So I'm more on the optimistic side, meaning let's have the positive, the creative, taking care of people who might be the losers in this transition. But the reinvention, I think, is becoming a normal thing.
Final question. Forums like this seem to be pretty unique, where you bring together members of government, the political class, academia, and also the private sector, here the financial world. Is there benefit in those dialogues, and can we get some concrete solutions generated from these types of events?
Yes, of course. The first is indeed this dialogue, to have a better understanding of what's going on. A large part of the problem we have in policy making is that the problem we face are so complex that just understanding them is extremely difficult. And of course, if you don't have the right understanding, then the policy might be inadequate. So our role, and I'm speaking as an academic, is to shed some light and say, okay, here is how it works. Here is what would not work, probably here is what would work, and then the policymakers can have a better understanding and hopefully make better decisions in terms of regulation and laws and so on.